Yep, I do exist. I'm here. I bet the audio was really low on the intro, wasn't it? Hello, everybody. Yeah, was the music loud on the intro? It looked like I had the knob turned down. I'm not sure how that works for that. Oh, cool. Yeah, somebody emailed me. I think her name was Linda. Oh, well, I think that's what it was. Hold on. I don't want to screw up. Just a second. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, she emailed me about this case, but I think I've covered it before, but I don't think I've ever done the newspapers.com version of it. I like going through that because it seems like you always pick up on other things when you do it that way. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. And look at that. Look who stole the... Yeah, good old Chloe stole the bed there. It's like now they just kind of rotate around, whoever gets it first. She's just out cold. I think she was ready to go to sleep. Why we all are here having a group. Taking me from groups and remind me. Yep, so right now, good old Chloe has stolen the spotlight. Alright. I'm just waiting for people to show up. Right now we have 33. Hey, Sarah, I haven't seen you in a long time. I can always tell who you are with your little nanu, or nana little hands on your head there. Yep, got a new dog. We got two. I have two now, Blue and Chris just showed up with it yesterday, or 2 days. Was it yesterday? Hell, I don't even remember now. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, he'll be okay. Yeah, he's just laying in his crate right below me with the door open. He's not... He can easily walk out. I think he's getting used to her, for sure. Yeah, well, we'll see. One day, Chloe might be sleeping in there, and oh my God, Blue's gonna freak out. Yep. Wow, only 31 people here. I think I really need to move over to the drama world. It'll really help out a lot. I'll like combine drama with the live shows. It's like the drama channels are sucking the life out of every other channel that people... I just don't... I don't really know what's going on. It's just... It's crazy. You know, I used to get two or 300 people, and then right after my show's over, I go onto YouTube and I see 800 people watching a drama fest, and every single one of the people that usually would watch my channel are over there. How about just live your own life, you know, like, who cares about the drama in somebody else's world? You know, like, these are cases you could actually follow and maybe actually do something about it. You know, you might know something, or you could spread the word around, something, but there's absolutely nothing to be gained by those, on those channels. You know, people love to do it, You know, it's fun. I mean, it's just like watching those channels like 30 Day Bride or something. I mean, what's the point of watching that? There isn't one. It's just, oh, wow, I have nothing to do. Okay, I'll watch that. Okay, anyways, I'll just get started. Okay, so this is the case of Christine Guenther. I don't know if it's Guenther or how you know how you pronounce it. Guenther. I'm not sure actually how you pronounce that. Yeah. I could pretend something. I don't know if she's live right now or who's ever live, but it just the whole drama thing is it sucks because I'm actually trying to have a channel here. It's monetized. I'm trying to make it work, and it just last couple shows, you know, nobody's even watching, and it just went because drama is more interesting and it's really depressing. You know, I could be doing something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. But this is what I like to do. You know, so the thing is I like to do it, but it's also really depressing, to be honest with you. And if you guys were in my shoes, you'd feel the same way. Let's see. Okay, so this is when she was actually reported missing. Hey, thanks, C. Dorton. For the dog food fund. Well, how about for my hard work? I mean, come on. All right, I'll have to go buy Chloe some little biscuits or something.
For the dog food fund.
Is that a, what do you got in your hand there? Is that a smallmouth bass? Kind of looks like it. I don't know. It's hard to, so small. Can't see it, but the color looks like a smallmouth bass. Yeah, thanks, Curious Georgia. Well, you're on the, I've seen you on here many times. Yeah, I caught a 23-inch smallmouth bass in the Willamette. It was thin though. It got, if I had just caught that during after spawning, man, that sucker would have weighed, I mean, you know, it weighed like 3.5 or 4 pounds, but it was really skinny. And it was during spawning time, but man, had I caught that later, that would have been massive. But I caught a bunch that were 2-3 pounds in there using crawdad imitation. They love crawdads. And Blue says, what about my biscuits? Alright, here we go. USW AIDS. Yeah, I'm not sure what USW is. USW AIDS daughter is reported missing. This is 1981. And this article is on October 29th, 1981. City police are seeking information about a 15-year-old Christine Guenther of Peters Township. Reported missing, and this is in Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania. Yeah, but I think it actually is in Pittsburgh, right there. Christine is the daughter of Harry Guenther, assistant to United Steelworkers President Lloyd McBride. She was last seen at 1 p.m. at a bus stop at Donaldson Crossroads at Route 19. So I think I did cover this one time, but not using newspapers.com. So let's see if I've got this in the right spot. That doesn't look like the same spot, so yeah, that's Route 19. And then what's the other one? Donaldson's Crossroads. Let's see. Okay, is that an actual, like a mini mall, like a mall of some sort? So I think I might have the right spot. At Donaldson's Crossroads at Route 19, she was headed downtown for a doctor's appointment. So I remember this part here. For a routine checkup of an ear infection she had a couple of months ago. So she was heading to a doctor's office with a routine checkup on an ear infection. I don't even think we did this that long ago because it's sort of ringing a bell. According to police, the girl never got on the bus and never made it to the doctor's. She was last seen by a girlfriend who drove past her and waved. Okay, yeah, isn't this one where they weren't sure what side of the street she was on? Let's see. So she was last seen here. That's right. I mean, I kind of remember some of it. Right here, like she was at this Donaldson's Crossroad and was going to get on a bus. She was wearing blue jeans and a light blue sweater at the time of her disappearance. She is believed to have had $5 with her, but no identification. Guenther said his daughter was a good student at Peters Township High School, where she was a junior and member of the tennis team. He said she did not have a boyfriend and that he could not think of any reason for her running away from home. He added that he had talked to her on the phone the morning of her disappearance. We were all going to go to the Steelers game that night. We never made it, he said. Anyone with information should contact the city police missing persons bureau. So this was back when it happened. And then on November 1st, so that was October 29th, so 3 days later, Peters Township girl 15 found dead in the woods. Well, thanks, Sooner History. No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, importance is, I feel like I do important work, like it's nice to get these stories out there. But at the same time, it doesn't matter to a lot of the people that actually come here, though. Like they come here and then, oh, wow, hey, I'm going to go watch, I'd rather go watch some drama. I think it sucks, okay? And I mean, I can't dictate to people what's interesting to them, but I think it sucks that drama is interesting. And yeah, I've gone over there to watch, and I actually watch, and I'm just like, why the hell is anybody here watching this? It's just weird. Okay, so anyways, that's my opinion. The body of a 15-year-old Washington County girl, missing since Monday, was found by a hunter yesterday in a wooded area in South Fayette Township. The coroner's office said the body of Christine Guenther of 647 Bellwalt Drive. Let's see if we have that. I think I have that. Yep, 647 Bellwalt Drive, right there. That's where she lives. So this is where she went to high school. This is where she was last seen. She was supposed to take a bus to the doctor's to check out her ear. She lives right here. Well, thank you, Sooner History. It was discovered about 20 feet off Cecil Sturgeon Road, which runs parallel to and just north of the Washington County line. Okay, let's see. I think I probably have this one. Yep, right there. Oh yeah, that's right. You remember this? We actually, there was some crime scene shots, and I think I found the spot. There was this tree right there, and then she was found like 20 feet off into the woods right there. I just don't remember. I hardly remember covering this though, because I don't know if we were using newspapers.com at the time. Seems like you can get a lot more out of it. Yeah, I'm sure he was, Tabs. He's awesome. Boy, he doesn't lie to anybody. Thanks, Lillian Plummer.
Gray and Trump are the best green heart.
Wow, I'm compared to Trump. Woohoo! Gray, that's not a good thing, man. Wait, maybe I need the voice for that one. Nah, it's alright. Yeah. He put on a good performance today, Tabs? Is that what you're saying? Good. Alright. Yeah, he's like a used car salesman. Yep, it's good stuff. Alright, County Coroner Sanford Edberg said an examination of the body at the scene revealed a penetrating injury to the back of the head and extensive fracturing of the girl's skull. An autopsy will be performed today to determine the exact cause of death, Edberg said. Allegheny County homicide detectives were at the scene yesterday with South Fayette and Peters Township Police. Let's see, she was penetrating injury to the back of the head and extensive fracturing of the girl's skull. Remember that one where the girl was at the mall and then she went, what was it? Her mom was going to maybe take her to the mall but was too busy, so she went walking there. I'd like to know more about that one too. If I could just remember the damn case. Then they found her body just right in the woods, kind of near where her house is, and it appears that it was maybe somebody she knew, if you remember that one. Yeah, that is pretty funny there, Tabs. Yeah. I don't think it was in Alaska, that one that I'm thinking of. Was it? God, doesn't feel like it. There was it was a mall, right? And she was going to go to the mall, and the mother was going to go, but she didn't go, and then apparently she made it to the mall, and then on her way back or something, she was killed, and then the mother thought that maybe it was people that knew that, you know, something like they were doing drugs back there, and then she told them to leave. It was something about that. And they broke into the house before. Yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah, their house had been robbed before. Right. Yep. So that was in Alaska? That's weird. I don't remember it being Alaska. Yeah, I just don't remember. Yeah, 3 of you have said Alaska so far, so it probably is. I can't remember that case at all, though, like who the name was or anything. I have to go back through the notes or something. Christine was last seen about 1 p.m. Monday waiting for a bus at Donaldson's Crossroad on Route 19 in Washington County. She had left Peters Township High School about 45 minutes earlier with her best friend, Chrissy Patrizio, and was on her way to Pittsburgh for a doctor's appointment. And isn't this the one where she was waiting on the wrong side of the road or something like that? You guys remember that? Let's see. Yeah, so Pittsburgh's over here. She would have wanted to be on this side of 19. So over here, but apparently maybe she was on this side. I guess we'll get back to that part again. She had left Peters Township High School about 45 minutes earlier with her best friend, Chrissy. Christine and Chrissy had plans to attend the Steeler-Oilers football game last Monday night. We had tickets, Chrissy told the press. So let's see. Monday, this is Sunday, so it would have been... Let me open up that last one. So this one was on Thursday, so she actually went missing on the 26th, I think. Yeah. We had tickets, Chrissy told the press last week. She told me she would call me at about 6 o'clock when she got back from the doctor's. The girl was seen by about 7 or 8 people while waiting for the bus, but never made it to the doctor's office. Her father, Harry Guenther, and assistant to United Steelworkers President Lloyd McBride earlier this week said the bus driver reported she had not boarded his bus. Okay, so let's see about this one. This is November 6th, 5 days after that last article. Okay, that one doesn't seem to have much. It's just about the reward fund. Let's see. I might actually put newspapers.com up here. There's so many. This was like one of the most heavily covered stories I've ever seen on newspapers.com. I mean, look at all these. Tons and tons of articles. So it was the 29th. Let's see, November 3rd. Let's take a look at this one. Homicide detectives are investigating reports that a slain Peters Township teenager was seen alive as late as last Tuesday, a day after her reported disappearance from a Route 19 bus stop. Police said today several witnesses claimed to have seen 15-year-old Christine Guenther alone in the area hours after she was reported missing. Homicide Inspector Charles Moser stressed the sightings have not been confirmed, adding the investigation is continuing. There is further speculation Christine may have walked from the bus stop to a McDonald's restaurant several blocks away. Let's see where that is. Okay, right there. So that's the McDonald's they're talking about. Usually McDonald's have been there. I haven't seen a McDonald's being built recently. It just seems like the same McDonald's I've seen since I was a kid are in the same spots. Because if you own a McDonald's, you don't sell them because nobody ever quits going to McDonald's. You know, even hippies sometimes will go to McDonald's. They just look all around it and make sure none of their friends are watching. And no, they ain't eating no tofu. All right. Yeah. All right. I got to laugh at my joke. Hey, all right, Sarah Beth. Okay, somebody got it. Actually, I wasn't going to look at this. I was on newspapers.com. Her body was discovered in a wooded area of South Fayette Township Saturday. Detectives were working on the possibility Christine may have accepted a ride to a 2 p.m. doctor's appointment after discovering she had been waiting on the wrong bus stop, or at the wrong bus stop. See, that makes sense. Meanwhile, other detectives and local police officers are still making a painstaking search of the site where the body, hastily buried under a pile of leaves, was found by a hunter passing through the area. Coroner Sanford Edberg said Christine, a 9th grade student at Peters Township High School, died of head wounds caused by a small hatchet. Oh, now we get more detail. Or axe, as late as Thursday evening or Friday. Wow, really? So you think maybe she was alive Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. That leaves 3 to 4 days when she was missing, but apparently alive. Wow. He based the time frame on the good condition of the body and the small amount of blood found at the scene. That's crazy. Also baffling was Edberg's determination yesterday that test results have ruled out the possibility of sexual molestation, I was just wondering about that, as a motive in the killing. She was fully clothed when found, and a thorough examination of the body has turned up negative as far as sexual abuse. Well, did you test her, though? Did you do a rape kit? And did you store it? Because I don't care what you think. You know, the weird part about it is, let me ask you that. So the thing is if somebody abducts you and he rapes you, but you don't fight back, you just don't want to cause any issues, so you allow him to just do it, how would there be signs of like some kind of assault happen? I mean, if you get what I'm saying? Sometimes they say, oh, no assault, but there was one. I mean, yes, she was fully clothed, sure, but well, good to see you again, Bumblebee. The fun. All right, thanks. She was fully clothed when found and had thorough examination of the body has turned up negative as far as sexual abuse being a motive. He said that only things found in her clothing, I believe, were 3 $1 bills and a permission slip to leave school. And that was probably for her doctor's appointment for her ear. Okay, Gene. Oh boy. Let's see. Christine, the daughter of Harry and Garmin Guenther, had left her high school just after noon. So Christine left her high school just after noon, October 26th, for a doctor's office in the city of Pittsburgh, where she was being treated for an ear infection. Police said a classmate accompanied her to the bus stop at Donaldson's Crossroads, about 2 miles from her home, where they parted company. And that all makes sense if you look at this. Her home is right there. I bet you it's about 1.6 as the crow flies, I'm going to guess. No, it's a little bit more than that. But this is Donaldson's Crossing. It's about 2.66 miles as a crow flies. So a little bit more than 2 miles, as they say. Although it says a parted company. Let's see. Accompanied her to the bus stop at Donaldson's Crossroads, about 2 miles from her home, where they parted company. I would have said about 3 miles. As many as 8 people reportedly saw her standing at the stop, which is in front of a telephone booth at a convenience store. But the bus driver said she never boarded. Local police said that may have been because Christine realized she had been waiting at the wrong bus stop. The 1 p.m. bus to Pittsburgh stopped across the street. The bus stop she had been waiting for, the bus she had been waiting for, was not scheduled to arrive until 3:15. Yeah, so I kind of see what happened here. She comes down here, and let me get the north-south orientation right. Pittsburgh's right up there, okay? So what she probably did was she was on this side over here waiting for a bus, and then it turns out she was on the wrong side. She needed to be on this side for the bus to go back up north, and it actually would end up passing her house and then heading into Pittsburgh up here. Yeah. That's weird. Detectives are conducting house-to-house interviews in the neighborhoods near where the body was found. State police... Wait, let me read this part. Provided an area where Christine reportedly went to ask about a bus time. Okay. Police based the missed bus theory on information provided from an unidentified business in the area where Christine reportedly went to ask about bus times when she discovered her error. So she went in and said, "Hey, does this bus come by here or what?" And they go, "Oh, no, it's on the other side of the street." And then she probably went over there and realized that she had missed her last chance to ride the bus, and then probably hitchhiked. Doesn't that make the most sense? It does to me. Detectives are conducting house-to-house interviews in the neighborhood near where the body was found. State police helicopters reportedly were being used to get an aerial perspective of the slaying scene, and metal detectors were being used on the ground. How did they find... Who found her body, though? What does it say right here? Was found by a hunter, yeah. Man... You know, I gotta tell you, the worst nightmare for serial killers and killers are hunters and mushroom hunters, right? I mean, my God. Hunters find literally, I'd say 80% of the bodies that are recovered, and then mushroom hunters fill in the next gap. You rarely get the one, I mean, you hear it, but the one that goes, 2 kids walking in the middle of nowhere came across bodies in the woods. I mean, you do get that one, but it's almost always mushroom hunters or hunters. And in fact, police often will mention to any hunters in an area they know a body could be, or even in a city or a state or a county, they'll tell the hunters in that county, when you're out there, be extra vigilant and be on the lookout for any bodies that you might actually find a body, when you're out there. Yeah, you don't see hikers and joggers nowhere near as much as hunters and mushroom hunters. Mushroom hunters are unique as well because they're looking down all the time. So they might spot a hand sticking out of the dirt or clothing. Hunters they find bodies because they're in the middle of absolutely nowhere where a body would probably be dumped. Okay, hikers generally stay on a hiking trail, usually. They don't just traipse through thick wooded areas without having a plan. They're usually on a trail. And then joggers are running on a road, and yes, they do sometimes run, look off the side of the road, and they see a body dumped there. So, yeah, we've had a few of those, but I'm just saying the vast majority are hunters and mushroom hunters. Yeah, exactly, and they're observant. Yeah, well, some of your comments are pretty crazy, Gene. That's why I see them sometimes. You go a little too far down a road, but it's like just kind of stick with what we got, you know. We're still working through it. I mean, because above you said small penis, no fight, no vaginal trauma, you know, like all that kind of stuff. All right, it was just a little too much. I just say I don't know how. Sometimes medical examiners almost immediately say, "Oh, wow, yep, no sexual assault." Well, did you get a rape kit done? Because maybe there's DNA that was left in there, but it didn't appear to be an assault. And then if she was alive for 3 days, well, what clothes do you think she would have been made to put back on? Her own clothes. So it's not like she sat around wearing, you know, perhaps the same clothing for 3 days, right? If she was assaulted, that means her clothing was put off to the side, assaulted, and who knows, maybe she was made to put the clothes back on again so that the clothes would be with her when she was killed, and obviously it didn't. The clothing never led back to anybody because she was wearing it. Yeah, I've said that 1,000 times, Gene. Thanks. Wow. Let's see. Here goes Jean. She's on one of her rolls again. That's right. Yeah, the ones in the ditches, those city workers. Yeah. They're always putting in a power line or something. Right, Renee? Yep. Let's see. State police helicopters reportedly were being used to get an aerial perspective of the slaying scene, and metal detectors were being used on the ground. Alright, so it looks like it goes over to A4. That's A3, A4, and then it'll shift down. There you go. It actually looks for it on the page for you. It's pretty sweet. Clues will come. Let me hold on. Jeez. Let me go back. Now I got to read that last sentence. State police helicopters reportedly were being used to get an aerial perspective of the slaying scene, and metal detectors were being used on the ground. Well, how come? Was she shot too? But Mosser said the most important. Okay, it's gonna be most important. The most important clues will come from people who saw Christine climbing into a car or hitchhiking. When last seen, she was wearing a blue sweater and blue corduroy slacks. She was 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed 132 pounds. Well, hey, Gene, if I disagreed, I wouldn't have said that I say that all the time. Okay? Can you just get back to just focusing on what we're doing? I don't want to have a dialogue with you. It's not that interesting. I just want to go over this. Okay? Cool. I want to put illiterate ink. He never shows up and has anything useful to say. He always comes in with some dumbass comment. All right. Yeah. All right. We're getting Troll City tonight. It's good stuff. Okay. Clues will come from people who saw Christine climbing into a car or hitchhiking. That's where they wish their clues were coming from. When last seen, she was wearing a blue sweater, blue corduroy slacks. I don't think they've found anything to support their involvement, so I believe they're getting out. Moser said that because the youth's father is an assistant to the United States Steelworkers president, Lloyd McBride, the FBI had conducted a preliminary investigation last week to determine if there were any violations of federal law. Okay. And they didn't find a connection, so they're not part of the investigation anymore. But now the FBI would have stayed in there. See that? Like back then, the FBI would have... I mean, today the FBI would stay on the case because they are going to find some sort of DNA. Like, there was DNA left on her body. Okay? There's no doubt. Somewhere on her body was DNA from the killer. Hopefully they kept a whole bunch of that stuff. Hey, vintage gal. Okay, now let's go back to here. So this was on November 3rd. See if there's anything right after that. Well, here's November... Well, that was November 3rd. Let's see if we can... November 5th. More than 800 people filled St. Benedict Church in the Washington County community to mourn the death of a 15-year-old Christine Guenther. The funeral was held Wednesday for the teenager who was found bludgeoned to death Saturday in a wooded area of South Fayette Township. What a tasteless article, though, you know? Like, look at this. This is really almost a death announcement, like, hey, you know, she's going to be buried, and it has to put axe victim in there for sensationalism, so people go, oh, wow! You know, it's like all you were doing is talking about how many people were at the funeral and things like that. Okay, so now I'm going to move forward to the January 7th, 1982. So that's about 2 months later. So this one's just about a reward. And then July 30th, 1982. They'd ask girl's killer why. So maybe we can go through this and see what I wonder, it feels like I went over another one similar to this, where the parents were asking questions. Yeah, she was killed by an axe, but in the head, and dumped in the woods. So basically, the way this story is that she left school, I think around 1 o'clock, to go to a doctor's appointment in Pittsburgh. She had a pass to get out of school early, and apparently 3 $1 bills in her pocket. And then she went to the bus stop to wait for the bus that was going to get her there by, I think, 3:30, it said. I believe it said 3:30. It's like 1 to 3:30. And she was at the bus stop, but she was waiting on the wrong side. So she went into a store, some kind of a store there, and said, hey, where's the bus? And they told her, oh, it's on the other side. That's when she realized that she probably missed the bus. And at that point, it's probably when she was picked up by a hitchhiker. And basically, the forensic examination of the scene, the medical examiner thinks that she was alive for 2 or 3 days before being killed. There was a lack of blood at the scene, too. So it's almost as if she was held captive, used for whatever reason, and then murdered, and then her body was transported and dumped in that area. Right, Gene? You agree with that one, Gene? Let's see. So page 4, let me go to the next one. So this is B. Oh, let's just go through this. I want that person to live a long, long life, Guenther says evenly. I am a very peace-loving person. I would like to see him caught and punished. And Harry Guenther hopes fervently that somehow he could make the arrest. What would he say to the killer? I would not say anything. What would he do? I would not like to comment on that. The anger in his piercing blue eyes says otherwise, he explains. I have anger only towards whatever... You mean whoever did this act, not whatever. Or, whatever, you mean like a monster. Okay. Alright. It has been 9 months since two seemingly... What's the two? Let's see. Innocuous twists led 15-year-old Christine Guenther to an intersection in Peters Township, to her abduction and to her death. See, it's weird how random life is, right? Like, you always get the ones where the parent says, oh, and that's exactly that case we were mentioning earlier. The mother said she wishes she had just gone to the mall with their daughter. So let's see what these are. On October 26, 1981, a Monday, was gray and overcast with fog, intermittent rain, and drizzle. Christine, a junior at Peters Township High School, had an appointment in downtown Pittsburgh that afternoon with a doctor who was treating her for an ear infection. The first twist, her appointment originally had been scheduled for the previous Friday, October 23rd. So 23rd, Friday, 24th, Saturday, 25th, Sunday, 26th, Monday, and they were supposed to go to the football game, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Oilers that night, Monday Night Football. And her mother was to drive her into town. You know, it'd be interesting to go back and, I mean, it exists, but it was actually a Monday Night Football game, and no other teams play on Monday night other than the Monday Night Football game. Let's see. And her mother was to drive her into town, but Christine had just started treatment with a new medication, and her doctor wanted to give it more time. See, doesn't that suck for the doctor? To see how it was working, they decided to postpone the visit until Monday. So the doctor said, yeah, let's postpone that. Although that does open the door that one of the very few people in the world who actually knew that her doctor appointment was on Monday and was changed to that date given a sort of a weird reasoning. Well, let's give it a couple more times. How about 2 more days, right? You know? So I wonder if they ever looked into the doctor. Like, so the doctor knows that she's going to be taking a bus at some point. And hell, maybe the doctor drove by and said, you know what, I just happen to be in the area. I'll take you to the appointment. Wow, what great timing. See, isn't that that's a wild conspiracy theory. Yet, something that might, they might look at that because there's very few people that actually knew that. I mean, the fact that it was changed to that Monday specifically. And when they say an odd twist, well, sometimes odd twists aren't really that odd, you know? I wouldn't say the odds of that are very good. I'm just throwing it out. It's something that popped into my head that seemed reasonable. Or not reasonable, but just, something to think about. It'd be interesting if they ever find DNA on in this case. Wouldn't it be weird if it led back to that? So they decided to postpone that doctor's visit until the following Monday. So it was supposed to be on Friday, and it's just, hey, just let's wait the weekend and then have her come in on Monday. Give the medicine a little extra time. The second twist, Carmen Guenther would not be able to drive Christine on Monday. So her mother, I guess. A bus ride was the alternative. I think there's 3 twists, really. Christine called Suburban Lines in Washington County and was told the bus traveled north on Route 19 where she could flag it down. So let's, yeah, so this is Route 19's right there, north. So you'd have to be on this side of the street waiting and then flag it down, right? Witnesses saw her waiting in front of a stop-and-go store at Donaldson's Crossroads, but the information her father remembers came from an old schedule, and the bus traveled east on McMurray Road just across the intersection. So let's see. Okay, there's McMurray Road. So it's traveling east, so that means it's going like this. Okay, so I do have this the right spot right there. Okay, so here's McMurray Road. The bus was traveling east. Maybe I'll change that to a bus. There we go. So I was traveling in this direction. Is there an arrow I can use? Not really. So anyways, it's going east, so that would be this direction. And I bet it goes like this and turns. Oh, you know what? She was here's where she probably was. Watch. I think she was right here. So very close to where I have it. But she was waiting. This is what I think they're getting at here. She was waiting for a bus to be driving like this, right? And was going to flag it down, right? So she's standing here to flag it down. But apparently the bus had changed what it would do. I don't know why it would ever be... Well, gosh, who knows why it would do that. But apparently it was heading east on this road, and then it would turn like this, so she wouldn't have been able to catch it. Had she been standing here, she'd be able to say, hey, you know, wave down the bus as it turned. And it looks like it's a three-way road, except it's a one lane going this way and then 3 lanes this way. So if a bus was in this lane, it could probably turn. And then down here, she could flag it down, but she was probably standing right there and wasn't able to do it. That makes sense? Yeah. Yeah, you'd think they could find that out pretty easily. I'm just wondering if they looked into that a little bit. And see, that's the other... There's actually 3 that the mother couldn't drive her, and then the third is that she was waiting on the wrong side of the street. So 3 things went wrong in total that led to that. Just kind of weird. So let's see. Just across the intersection. So let me read this again. Witnesses saw her waiting in front of a stop-and-go store on Donaldson Crossroads, but the information her father remembers came from an old schedule, and the bus traveled east on McMurray Road, just across the intersection from where Christine was standing. The driver told police he picked up 2 women at that point, but did not see the girl. Right. And she probably couldn't get across that street because maybe there was traffic or something. Or she didn't even know that was the bus because she was waiting for a particular bus on her road. Her body was found 5 days later. Or, no, here it is. She simply vanished, it says. No one saw her get into a car. No one saw her get into a vehicle of any kind. And no one saw her alive again. Except the killer. See, that's bizarre, isn't it? Because you'd think that's around lunchtime. There's a lot of traffic going on. You'd think somebody would have saw somebody getting into a vehicle. Hopefully they just peppered the news with something. How do you... you mean... Yes, probably an upstanding citizen. Right. You got to write full sentences, though, Gene. It was very confusing the way you wrote that. Probably not. Upstanding citizen. Makes it sound like you don't think the doctor's an upstanding citizen. A better way to write it would have been something like, probably not. The doctor's probably an upstanding citizen. Right? Is that what you meant? Okay. Yeah. I think you do it on purpose, Gene. It's like a little bit of a... you're like messing around, right? Yeah. I'm saying it probably not, too. I said that. I said the odds are really low. What I'm saying is that it's interesting that he's one of the few people that actually knew... Well, here's the thing. He didn't know that she'd be taking the bus, right? Because isn't that the first part up here? Let's see. The first twist, her appointment originally had been scheduled, so he does change the schedule. And her mother was to drive her into town. But Christine had just started treatment with a new medication, and her doctor wanted to give it more time to see how it was working. They decided to postpone the visit until Monday. And apparently at that point, the mother couldn't drive her anymore. And so she took a bus. So I doubt he would have known that. I'm just teasing you, Gene. Don't worry about it. Witnesses saw her waiting in front of the Stop and Go store at Donaldson's Crossroad. Okay, she simply vanished. Her body was found 5 days later in a wooded area in South Fayette Township, about a mile from where she was abducted. So let's see, is that right? Yeah, I just don't agree with that at all. Yeah. Some of these, they have such crazy distances. Her home, I actually literally have the exact address right here. It's 3 miles. They said 2, and then they say she was found a mile from where she was abducted. Well, no, it's way further than that. It's like, I would say 6 miles. Look at this. Yeah, it's 6.07, right? 01 as the crow flies, so more like 7 driving. Unless I have that totally wrong, but I don't think so. I remember going over that. About a mile from where she was abducted, she had been bludgeoned to death. People who know Christine agree she would not have gone anywhere with anyone she did not know. So she must have been abducted then. You know, how do you know, though, for sure? You know, there might be some guy that seems normal. You know, it may even speak to somebody. Well, maybe what they're saying is she got into a car with somebody that she knew. A student or somebody. You know, somebody that said, hey, you know, I'm heading to Pittsburgh myself. I'm going to be going to the game later, so I'll tell you what, I'll give you a ride. And once a week, Inspector Charles Mosser and the 6 county detectives still working on the case gather in his office to review their progress. The detectives meet daily among themselves. The entire staff is called together once a month. There have been interviews with more than 500 people. At least that many more are planned. Okay, and let's see what we got up here. Okay. Let's see. It is still an ongoing investigation. There's a $25,000 reward. The time lapse has not eroded Harry Guenther's hope that the killer will be caught. The Guenthers and their other child, Michael, 17, a recent graduate of Seton LaSalle High School, have moved from Peters Township, where they lived for 16 years, to Mount Washington. Another reason we moved back, although not the principal reason, was the very high feeling for the Allegheny County Police. And let's see. Maybe they moved and then moved back. The day Christine disappeared, Carmen and Harry Guenther were at their country home in Somerset County, where they had gone the day before to deliver a second-hand sofa they had bought. They decided to stay overnight and do some cleaning. Many times I've sat and wondered about if I hadn't gone, Mrs. Guenther says. It doesn't help anything. It drives me crazy. And she thinks about the last time she talked with Christine. It was a telephone conversation the morning of October 26th. So that very morning, she talked to her. She asked if she could stay home from school because she hadn't slept well. I told her to go to school. She thinks about that decision too and decides that fate sometimes is out of one's hands. I don't know if that would have made a difference. I mean, wouldn't she have still caught the same bus? But there's just countless people, though. The fact that she went to school that knew that she was going to be leaving to get onto a bus. But here's the thing is, she was on the wrong side of the road waiting for it. She would have caught the bus. It wasn't like somebody tricked her into a situation. She just missed the bus. And now, probably panicking like, oh, I got to make this appointment, may have made a poor choice and got into a car with somebody, even though people don't think she would have done that. Hey, Gene, we've moved way past the doctor's office. Are you still talking about it? Wow, that's amazing. I thought you left that behind a long time ago. We have an opportunity to confront all these things, she says. My concern is that the interim someone else might be hurt. The Guenthers find solace amongst themselves and their co-workers. Guenther at the Steelworkers Union, where he has been employed for years. Mrs. Guenther in the city-county building, where she has been an administrator assistant to councilwomen. Michelle has saved my life, Miss Guenther says with enthusiasm. Yeah. Sounds like a nightmare, actually, for them. Okay, so now let's see. That was 1992. So now we can go back to newspapers.com and see what's going on after that. Man, just 15. Yeah, I'm just saying, who knows? I don't think the odds of that are really low. He's just one of a few people, and other than maybe some friends, that knew that she was going to be going to the doctor's office. That's it. So that was 1982. So I'm going to change the date up here to, let's see, 1982 to 1985, something like that. And that was the July 30th one that we saw. Let's see, this is January 2nd, 1982. I think we already, that's just a reward one. How about, I'm just going to get rid of, that's June 27th, that's a different. Alright, I'm going to get rid of 1992 on there and just make it 1993. Or 1983, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, see, look, they still kept covering this over and over and over again. It's wild. I mean, it's just weird how there's some cases that are so much They get so much more attention. And you have these brutal cases where there's not even, it's just a blurb and nothing else after that. Hey, look at that. That's Jack. I can tell that's Jack Nicklaus just by the way that putt, the way he looks putting that. All right, so they're talking about a memorial tennis tournament in her honor. Scott, Guenther. Let me try. I'm gonna do some later stuff like 1990. Let's see, 88 to 1995. Yeah, well, so it sort of died down a little bit. Well, quite a bit. None of these are related to her. So I'll make that about 1986. Now they're talking about another tennis tournament again the next year, 5th annual. I mean, has anybody heard anything about this? Are they testing again for DNA on this? Let's put her name into a more recent, just Google, for example. How about I'll type in murder. That's right. Wasn't this... There was a billboard. That's right. In 2011, they put a billboard up again. This article's from 2011. I guess I could try that. I didn't even think of that. How about 2010 to 2018? Yeah, there's the 2011. This is probably about the billboard. So let's see how they recap it now. Oh yeah, see that's... Okay, so they said it was a mile away where she was found, right? From where she was abducted. But look at area of Cecil Sturgeon Road in South Fayette, where the body of 15-year-old Christine Guenther was found 30 years ago. All right, so if you look at that shot right there, and then you go to where I have street view, and then let's get that road again. It was called Cecil Sturgeon Road, right? And then you go here, and we have the roads turned on. And let's see. Let's get a road to show up. There it is, Cecil Sturgeon Road. So how in the hell are they saying it's a mile away? It starts right there. And it's not like, I don't think it's one of these roads that picks up again in another location. Yeah. So it starts right there. And I'm thinking it's right here. And I think I went up and down this street about 1,000 times to try to find a location that looked like it. And it felt like right here, see that big tree right there? And if you go in this article, I think it almost feels like that's the tree. Although I don't think that's it. It's totally cut differently. But notice how I actually think there was a tree at one point right here. Let's see if you can see that. I think there was a tree that was once right there, and it's not there anymore. That's just the way I'm looking at this shot. See, look at this. I don't know if you can see. Let me try to... it's hard to do. Let me make it smaller, and maybe you can... That's hard to do that, because it's not really... Maybe like that, I guess. Almost had it. One more time. Yeah, so see how you can see way down straight like that? And if you go back a little bit here, you get that little curve. You see how there's that little curve right there, and then a little bit right here. I just can't get as far over to the left. And then it curves in and then goes straight way down there. And then there's this tree here. Now look at even that telephone pole looks like it's right there. And if I was over a little bit more to the left, that telephone pole would be closer to a tree that would have been once right there. And then all of a sudden, all these other trees are still there. And you get that straightaway down there. So that's why I think that this is the spot. They found her body not too long after, within a week. And when they found her body, it wasn't very decomposed, so they think she was still alive for 3 days after she was abducted, or whatever ended up happening. Do you guys think this is it? Because I couldn't find any other spots. I remember before the other time I covered this that I spent a long time. I mean, if I can go back a little bit more, so see how it's curved. It's curving, and it's just a different time of year here. So I wonder if there's another street view of that. Let's try that, just for the hell of it. There we go. We'll go to Google Maps. Got to spell Google right though, right? Okay, and that road name is really not common. Okay, Cecil Sturgeon Road. So I'm going to be looking this up over here. Cecil Sturgeon. There it is. Yeah, crazy. All right, so here we go. That's Cecil Sturgeon Road. We can put the satellite image on there. And let's see where we have on Google Earth. I'll get back up in the air here again. All right, so there's a little straightaway here, that patch. So I think it's right in there. Now let's see. Curve, straight, slight jog, bam. No, it's more like right there. Okay, so I'm going to put Street View here. And I think it's back here. Yeah, there it is. It's back here a little bit. See, I think there was a tree right there at one time. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. Now I do, if we get lucky, there's historical street views. So let's see. I don't think there is. See, it would have been right there. Darn it. Shoot. That's the same one. See, it even has the red. Darn it. But that's what I think. And it definitely wasn't 1 mile. So that was one of the worst reporting in the newspaper I've ever seen. It was 6 miles. It wasn't even close. Okay. On Monday, I'll go through this because this is a way later article. Maybe there's some updates that they put in here. On Monday, October 26th, Chris, and this is 1981, Chris left Peters High School early to take a bus from Donaldson Crossroads on Route 19 to downtown Pittsburgh for a doctor's appointment. It was, I think that's what they said. It was she was heading to Pittsburgh to a doctor's appointment. It was blustery, cold, and rainy, and Chris had an old bus schedule. So she had an old one that had the wrong information on it. A woman who lived across the street from the bus stop, which is kind of weird. Like, where do you live? Let me see. We'll have to do the historical street view here. She lived across the street from the bus stop. So if you go here, like, where would you have lived? There's just all businesses. Thanks, Lil Belly. I think I missed the spelling at the last second. Sorry about that. So let's see if we go back to 1993, and then at that point, maybe some of these are homes right here. Maybe that's a home, right? But everything changed later. See, that's not even the same. That looks like a house, right? And that maybe is a house, the house. But as time goes by, they tore that down, and that's still there, that's still there. So I guess it's possible, like that. There is a house right there. I can still see it. So maybe that's what they're talking about. A woman who lived across the street from the bus stop saw the girl standing. Well, it'd be hard for her to see her standing from there. But 1983 was even 10 years. 1984 was 9 years prior to the street view or the satellite imagery we just saw. So there might have been even more changes prior to that. Hey, Trisha, Callie. Yeah, it looks like a road to me. Doesn't look like a private drive. A woman who lived across the street from the bus stop saw the girl standing in the rain and went to fetch an umbrella for her. Wow. So a woman that was actually across the street. I wonder if she's just saying that to sort of... That just seems odd. A woman who lived across the street from the bus stop saw the girl standing in the rain, so this is all new stuff, and went to fetch an umbrella for her. But when she went out to give it to her, she was already gone. Well, then you must have the exact time on that. She never boarded the bus. She made it to the doctor's appointment. She never made it to her... she never boarded the bus. She never made it to her doctor's appointment, and never made it back to her home in Peters, where her parents were waiting for her so they could head out to the Steelers game. And here's what I guarantee is something her dad probably regrets, but he never talks about it, is that for a while he was pissed at her for not making it home because he was going to miss the football game, which is totally reasonable. Oh, man, my little whippersnapper, she's just causing me troubles. We can't even go to the Monday night football game. And then later you realize that something's not quite right. Although they must have been a little bit worried when, I'm sure the doctor's office might have said, hey, she never made it here. So that might not have actually happened, what I just said. But she never boarded the bus, never made it to her doctor's appointment, had never made it back to her home in Peters, where her parents were waiting for her so they could head out to the Steelers game with her best friend, Chrissy Patrizio. When she didn't show, they called police. Okay. So they, I wonder if the doctor's office called, but it doesn't sound like they did. It's almost like they were waiting for her to get back for the, on the bus from, like, I guess it takes 2 hours, so She would have taken the bus there. I think it takes 2.5 hours, so she would have got there at 3:30, had her appointment, got back on, got back at 6, and then they would have driven to Pittsburgh. But you don't. It's not like a bus that has to stop every 10 minutes or 5 minutes or less. All right. So then 5 days later, on Saturday afternoon, a hunter spotted the girl's face peeking out through a pile of leaves not far off Cecil Sturgeon Road in South Fayette. There, under a tangle of wet leaves and branches, so she was actually was hidden under branches, but it's weird, a face peeking out through a pile of leaves not far off Cecil Sturgeon Road in South Fayette. There, under a tangled what does it say? Under a tangle of wet leaves. Wow. Huh. I wouldn't have said tangle, but a tangle of branches would make sense. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that their family's second guessing. The reality of it is none of the decisions they made. It's just one of those things that you think, like, wow, somebody buys a lottery ticket and they were right in front of you and you let them take cuts in line and you think to yourself forever, gosh, if I had just never allowed them to take cuts. But in reality, who knows? The thing is nothing that these people did here was wrong at all. It's just a barbarian was out there, and it sounds like probably hunting. And then, boom, she got killed by a monster. And that monster is what made everybody have to wonder and think about things that they did. That's what sucks about these guys. Because almost every murder case that we've talked about has an incident like that. Hey, thanks, Tawanda. Tawanda was over there. I mentioned that I was on a live stream earlier with about 700 people, just all drama. That's all they do.
I believe in you, Gray.
And it's sad, as I was saying earlier, that so many people are interested to just sit around and listen to that garbage. It's just absolutely, I don't really understand the point of it. But people watch shows like 60 or 30 Day Bride or just all that stuff. Sometimes people just don't want to have to think, and you can sit around and just listen to that. So apparently that's more interesting. It's bizarre. Hey, how's it going? What is it? Chastity? Yeah. Yeah, well, this is if you want to go to watch a channel where we just go over cases, cold cases and so forth. We usually dig through the newspaper archives and try to get the actual factual information. Sometimes you have to read a few articles to get to a new fact because sometimes they change. No, I think people watch those every day. I mean, the fact that there's 700 or 800, 900 people. Yeah, I'm jealous that 700 people want to watch that. Just drama. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good at what they're doing, the drama. I'm just saying that people want to watch that. But I was over there, and I did go on, and I explained to him that, and so it was they were kind of rude at the end because somebody asked me a question about a case, and I was explaining it, and they kind of just hurried me off because it wasn't drama enough. So I was causing a loss of interest. So it shooed me off the air. It was pretty hilarious. Wow, you don't want to hear anything factual and interesting, boy. We got to get back right to what we were doing. No, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm not gonna say where I was. Just some random channel. I don't even know. I've only seen it twice. Treated like crap both each time. A little bit better today. There were some nice people in there. All right. So a woman who lived across the street from the bus stop, saw the girl standing in the rain and went to fetch an umbrella for her. But when she went out to give it to her, she was already gone. She never boarded the bus. 5 days later, on Saturday afternoon, a hunter spotted the girl's face peeking out through a pile of leaves not far off Cecil Sturgeon Road in South Fayette. There, under a tangle of wet leaves and branches. Okay, they did say branches. Allegheny County Police homicide detectives found her body fully clothed with $3 and an early dismissal slip from Peters High School in her front pocket. So that's the dismissal slip she got, so that she could go to the bus stop, so she could go to the doctor's appointment that had been changed from Friday the week before until Monday. So this time she had to take a bus to the doctor's appointment, but was given a bus schedule from an earlier time, and she was standing in the wrong spot and missed the bus that she needed to take. And she never made it to the doctor's appointment, and she was never seen alive by any family members or anybody again. Hey, no problem, you guys. Well, women kill guys a lot too, but yeah. I seem to cover cases with women being murdered more than guys. I don't know why. I feel like it's much more depraved in some way. You know, you've got a man who's way stronger and just physically, kills a woman and then dumps her body somewhere. And it's weird. I don't know. I think it sucks, but my mind, when a guy, same thing happens to a guy, I don't have the same level of like, God, that just, it's horrible. I mean, I still think it's bad, but I don't have the same, it's not the same level. Does that make any sense? Like, sort of like if it was a kid, I'd even feel worse as well. I feel bad for all of them, but there's just the different levels for me. Well, there's women serial killers. They just kill in a different way. It's usually poisoning. Just watch IDTV. You get those women that kill, and then they kill all kinds, like every single, like 5 different husbands in a row to get an insurance policy. I don't really think of that as a serial killer, though, even though they are. I think serial killers are different. They're sort of random. The victims are random to each other. A lady killing all her husbands, although that's probably technically a serial killer, it just feels a little different. It's more like all about money. Serial killers, to me, have some sort of infatuation with something that they need to fulfill, and they do it by the kill. And Deadly Women, right? Yeah, that show. So killing for money is different for me. You see what I'm saying? Okay, let's go. There's more information here now. An autopsy revealed she had suffered a massive head wound, likely caused by a hatchet. Let's see. A hatchet, small axe, or meat cleaver. So now they're adjusting So let's see. So yeah, so it's probably like a. It's not a knife because they can see that's probably like an incised blow right in the head, but it's not thick enough to be a like an axe, but it's a small one, yeah, or a meat cleaver. I'm kind of picturing what they're talking about. There were other injuries on her body, including abrasions and bruises, but none from being bound. Interesting. Small circular burns marked her wrist and abdomen. Like a cigarette? Small circular burns marked her wrist. Her wrist, so just one of them, and abdomen. What do you think that means? Small circular burns. Huh, let's see if they answer that. Stanford Edberg, then Allegheny County coroner, said in an interview last week that the burns look like they came from a lit cigarette. Okay, there you go. Says it right on the next sentence. I wasn't reading it. Dr. Edberg concluded that she had been killed elsewhere. Wow, that's just. Let me go back to that though. What would go on? So she was bruised, and I would think that they could determine if the cigarette burns were after or before she was killed. So was she still alive and awake when her wrist was burned? What would make her? Why would he burn her wrist with a cigarette? And that's an intentional burn, or you put it out or something on that wrist, and it doesn't sound like the wrists were tied. And then it's just like it was torture, right? The one on her abdomen. Come on. Yeah. If you have a drama channel and that's what your channel is, I hate the ones that say they do true crime too. I think it sucks. Okay? If you're a drama true crimer, you're an embarrassment to mankind. If that's like your whole goal, right? Now you say, well, what I'm saying right now is being drama. Well, no, I'm talking about. That's usually the only time I do drama is when I'm talking about like the state of drama. All right, so I'm going to we'll stop with the cigarette burns here for a second. I'm just looking at the comments. People who do, that claim to be true crime, but 90% of the time they talk about drama, don't ever say that you do true crime again. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't ever do it again because you've just lowered the standard on it by a mile. I mean, just literally, it's... Man, I don't really get it. But yeah, if you just want to say that you want to do drama, I mean, if you want to be like, like Miss Wonderful's channel, or you want to do like, Molly Go Lightly, or those kind of people, just go ahead. But don't try to mix in true crime sometimes. It just doesn't. It really. I think that's kind of what bothers me the most. And I think I wouldn't mind at all if YouTube put a halt to something like that, because for me, it's just so. Can you imagine if you're sitting there watching IDTV and they just, they quit talking about. I don't know. Forget it. I don't even want to do it. I'm just going to go on to what I was doing. So anyway, she had small circular burns marked her wrist, and then the coroner said it looked like they were cigarette burns. Now, we don't know how many of them there were. It says small circular burns marked her wrist and abdomen. So there could have been 20, 10, whatever. I doubt there was just one on her wrist and one on her abdomen. Dr. Edberg concluded that she had been killed elsewhere because there was little blood found at the scene. An autopsy report said the way blood pooled in her body indicated it was moved after she died. So that means the what do you call that? Hold on, I'm looking at something. Yeah, the lividity is the actual term. I was thinking of the marbling look. So, like, basically, if you have a body that's laying on its back, you'll see it'll look like bruising, but it'll be on the bottom side because that's where the blood pools, except for the negative spaces where, let's say you're laying on your back. Yeah, I said that, Gene, thanks. And when you're laying on your back and your legs go over, for example, let's say you're laying on your back and your legs are on top of a, let's see, a barbell, for example. Well, the part of the leg that's over the barbell will be white, right? But the rest will be the sort of the purplish red from lividity. Okay? So there's that little wherever anything is pressing into the body, you'll get a white color. And then if you and then let's say later, so and it's fixed like that. So let's say you then move the body and dump the body onto the stomach. The lividity doesn't then shift; it stays there. So that's how you know. Wow, at one point she was on her back when she died, actually, and that's why it pooled there. Well, she could have been standing up in a different position when she died, but she was immediately put into a position where the blood pooled on one side. Yeah, I think it would be a cool job. But if you go buy the book by Vernon J. Gebert, it costs like over $100, but it's pretty sweet. It's called Practical Homicide. They have pictures in there. You can't really show any of them. They're really disturbing. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Edberg concluded that she had been killed elsewhere because there was little blood at the scene. An autopsy report said the way the blood pooled in her body, lividity, indicated it was moved after she died. There were no signs of sexual assault, no signs that she had been drugged or robbed. That left police no motive and little evidence about her attacker. She had eaten. Oh wow, she had eaten, but police believe the food in her stomach was from a snack she grabbed while waiting at the bus stop. I wonder if they're just wrong about when she was killed. I mean, she obviously was killed elsewhere and then dumped there. But let's see, the time of year, I think it was November. It was probably pretty cold. Pittsburgh gets really cold. And it's possible that the weather preserved her body longer than you would think. Because it just seems really, I mean, I don't know. If you're going to keep somebody alive for 3 days and so forth, this is a weird one, you gotta admit. There were no signs of sexual assault, no signs that she had been drugged or robbed. That left police no motive and little evidence about her attacker. She had eaten, but police believe the food in her stomach was from a snack she grabbed while waiting at the bus stop. Said Teresa Rocco, who was head of the Pittsburgh Police Missing Persons Unit at the time and assisted with the case. That's who said that. In the autopsy report, Dr. Edberg said her body was well preserved and put her time of death sometime in the 48 hours prior to the discovery of her body. Huh. All right, so let's get back to that article. That was 1981. The body of 15-year-old Washington County girl missing since Monday was found by a hunter yesterday. So that would have been... this is November 1st, so that would have been on Halloween. Yeah, wow. How shitty. How spooky that was on Halloween. They probably thought it was a joke. Let's see. Missing since Monday, was found by a hunter yesterday in a wooded area in... Okay, so yesterday would have been a Saturday. 48 hours before would have been Saturday. And then... Well, it was found yesterday, so that would have been Saturday. And then you'd go Friday, Thursday. Wow, so she went missing on Monday, and they think the time of death is 48 hours, which would be Thursday. Or what did they say? Did they say 48 hours? Hold on, let me go back. In the autopsy report, Dr. Edwards said her body was well preserved and put her time of death sometime in the 48 hours prior to discovery. So she was found Saturday, and then 48 hours before would have been Thursday, and she went missing on Monday. Wow, so they do think that there was 3 days. That left at least 3 days. Oh, there's the next sentence. That left at least 3 days when she was missing, but apparently alive. There were no shoe prints found at the scene. A wooded area blanketed with fallen leaves. Yep, that's the nightmare scenario. That's actually the same problem they had in that case we've been covering with the girl. Is there any update on that, by the way? With the one that was at the cabin and there's bullet holes exiting the cabin but none going in? That one? The one that we had 3 options. Yeah, so the food was from a store right there. So that's the same deal. They couldn't see footprints in that case either. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Renee. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, all of you got. Yeah, definitely. 100%. I wonder if they use that logic, right? Yeah, I mean, if she was alive for 3 days, well, maybe she hadn't eaten it yet, and that's all she was allowed to eat during that time. But yeah, I mean, the first day she would have eaten some, and no, it wouldn't still be in your stomach though, Gene. There were no signs of sexual assault. She had eaten, but police believe the food in her stomach was from a snack she grabbed while waiting at the bus stop. Yeah, right. So if she was alive for 3 days, did they let her eat the food right at the last minute there, or? That's almost something you want to call them about and say, hey, you guys mentioned that the only food left in her stomach was from a snack, but then you say she was alive for 3 days, so how come the food is still in her stomach? Wouldn't it have been processed? So, see, that's another piece of evidence that makes me think that she died right then, and they're just wrong about her still being alive. I think that she was killed elsewhere, and also dumped the same day, and she was dead. I think that they're just off on that part of the story, because there's 2 or 3 things that just don't make sense. Yeah. So hey, good call there. That's pretty good. Like it. So that's the kind of thinking I like right there. That's not the, hey, you, what about the Illuminati, everybody? Just kind of work through the facts and everything. I think that she was killed right then, that day, somewhere else. Obviously, she was alive that day for a while. The reasoning for the killing, who knows? But she has burns on her, and then She was killed and then dumped, and that's why in her stomach. And there was another thing, too, that I was thinking about. What made me think of that earlier? Because I said the same thing. Not about the food in her stomach, but I said, wow, that makes me feel like it's the same day. Under tangled wet leaves and branches. $3 in early dismissal slip. See, this part here made me kind of think that, too. You know, the $3 in her pocket and a dismissal slip just seems so... like nobody went through her pants or anything. A hole in the back of her head. An autopsy revealed she had been suffered a massive head wound, likely caused by a hatchet, small axe, or meat cleaver. There were other injuries on her body, including abrasions and bruises, but none from being bound. So she wasn't even bound. See, that's another thing. It's like, how did you keep her for 3 days? That's one of the things that made me think, well, I think she got killed almost immediately. Like that day, anyway. Because you read that and you say, well, she wasn't even bound, so what was she doing for 3 days? Small circular burns marked her wrist and abdomen, which ended up being cigarette burns. Concluded that she had been killed elsewhere because there was little blood found at the scene. An autopsy report said the way the blood pooled in her body indicated it was moved after she died. There were no signs of sexual assault, no signs that she had been drugged or robbed. That left police no motive and little evidence about her attacker. She had eaten, but police believe the food in her stomach was from a snack she grabbed while waiting at the bus stop. Said Teresa Rocco. Okay. In the autopsy report, Dr. Edberg said her body was well preserved and put her time of death sometime in the 48 hours prior to the discovery of her body. That left at least 3 days when she was missing, but apparently alive. There were no shoe prints found at the scene. A wooded area blanketed with fallen leaves. County police declined to say if any of the other evidence had been found there. The discovery set off a frantic search for her killer. Hundreds more interviewed. Her family, classmates, and teachers at the high school, neighbors, and businesses at Donaldson Crossroads. They also interviewed a bevy of potential suspects, sexual offenders in the area, convicts recently released from prison. Regis Kelly, who as a county homicide detective was, I was thinking like Regis from the show, Philbin, or whatever his name. Part of the original investigation, has worked on the case over the years. He now works for the State Attorney General's office. He questioned serial killers in other states, attempting to link them to unsolved homicides in the area, including Chris's, but nothing panned out. Agent Kelly said he looked for links between her killing and the unsolved murders of other young women in the area, but they bore no resemblance. Investigators believe she probably got into a car with someone at Donaldson's Crossroads that day, perhaps because it was raining and the bus she was waiting for didn't come. There's a great possibility she knew the abductor because there's no indication of a witness of a struggle, and that was 1:20 in the afternoon. A few people said they spotted the girl in the days after she disappeared, but Agent Kelly believes they were likely mistaken. He believes that after she went missing from the bus stop, whoever took her held her captive, and that her fate was pretty much sealed. Yeah, see, I think they're all going with the captive thing because I don't know, I'm not a medical examiner, but I think it's possible that there was an error made on the time of death. And that's leading them to a bunch of other speculations. All we have is her at the bus stop at the Donaldson's Crossing. Okay. Let's see. All we have is her at the bus stop at Donaldson's Crossroads, he said. The next thing we know for certain is she was in that wooded area on Saturday. That's exactly right. That's all they have. And the autopsy report. That's what makes it difficult. That time span. And there's nothing concrete in between. At one point, investigators looked into the possibility that a man gunned down by state troopers in April 1988, who was later linked to a series of rapes and murders, abducted Chris, but the connection didn't pan out. Agent Kelly said that of the hundreds of people interviewed, some were definitely cleared, but others were never completely eliminated, he said. Still, there was never enough evidence gathered to change a particular to charge a particular person. The tips thinned out over the years. Chief Harry Fruitjet of the, let's see. That's crazy. The Matters moved to Mount Washington with their son, Michael, where Miss Matter went to work for Pittsburgh City Councilwoman Michelle Madoff. She started an organization. Isn't that related to the Madoff? She started an organization, Save the Kids, which helped families cope with their children that went missing. After the 10th anniversary of her daughter's death, she surrendered any hope that her daughter's killer would be found. Within the first 24 hours, if anything's going to be found, that's when it's going to happen. In 2009, county police received a grant to take a second look at the handful of cold cases. Detective Larry Corpiccio, or I don't know how to pronounce that, lauded by former colleagues as one of the most thorough, was assigned Chris's case. Before Detective Corpiccio's death, Superintendent Morton said he was looking for an analyst to re-examine a piece of evidence. He declined to go into detail, saying revealing too much could compromise the case. Well, hopefully you guys got a hold of the FBI. How about you just send everything you got to the FBI and see what they come up with. This individual, this killer, has been out there for at least 30 years, and over those years has interacted with hundreds of people. That's why you always hold that hope. I would say thousands. Anyone with information about the murder or disappearance of Christine Guenther is asked to call Allegheny County Police 412-473-3000. So that was 2011. I wonder if there's anything after that. Now there's a 2014. That's a... That's 2017. Every day we see we're sad every time. Oh, that's another person with that same name. All right, well, that's it, man. What a crazy case, though. It'd almost be worth it to call down there and see if you can get a... I wonder if there's a way to get a copy of the autopsy report. That would be good to see that. And I don't even know if it makes much of a difference. Even if you say, oh, she was alive for 2 days or whatever. They don't have any... It makes it a more horrific story if she was held captive. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't help figure anything else out at that point. Doesn't seem like it anyways. But yeah, the autopsy report would be interesting. You're right. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's it for me tonight. 2 different shows. I was on earlier. And so thank you to C. Dorton, Lillian Plummer, and Tuwanda for the super chats. Oh yeah, and there was actually, I forgot to thank the people on the prior show. So let me find that. Yeah, so it was also Mag, Barbara Smith, Will Good earlier. So there you go. And then Cairo was on, I think, on Streamlabs as well. I think. All right. Okay, so where are we doing the flyby tonight? Yeah, it was interesting. Somebody told me to cover it again. I've covered it before. That's why I had to Google Earth stuff. But I don't think I ever went through, I don't remember going through newspapers.com, but maybe I did. That's how I got that image. As a matter of fact, it has it clipped right there. Yep. Hey, thanks a lot. All right, so where are we going? I'll do like, I'm just going to do one loop. I'm tired. I'm just go back to Bryce Canyon. There's so much stuff to fly by over there. What do you guys think of the outline? Now they have a little brick outline there. Is that all right? Now what? I don't even know what you're saying. I kind of like it. I don't even remember what I asked. I'm tired. Hello. What are you sorry for, Morbid Angels? What's a visit? Thanks, Patty. Yep. Anyways, that's it. No round two. No round two. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming on to the show tonight and hanging out, covering another cold case from 1981. The crazy case. Yeah. It was Christine Guenther. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I think it's Guenther. 1981, went missing on October 26th. She was supposed to go to the doctor's office to get her ears checked. She'd had an ear infection. She was supposed to go on the 23rd, but her doctor told her that he wanted to give her the medication a little bit more time. So she didn't go until the following Monday, but on the previous Friday, her mother was going to give her a ride. But on the following Monday, her parents were out of town doing some stuff at a cabin I guess they own. And so she was left on her own to take the bus, which isn't really that crazy, but she was supposed to pick up, get on a bus at about like 1 o'clock to head to Pittsburgh to see the doctor. And she was waiting at the wrong bus stop on the wrong side of the street because, again, like her father gave her an old schedule, and the bus drove down a different road now. So she was waiting on the wrong side of the road. Apparently the bus picked up 2 other women, but not her. And then she just went missing. Apparently somebody that lives in a house saw her and was going to bring an umbrella to her. But when she was heading out to bring the umbrella, she was already gone. Then her body was found about 6 miles away off the side of a road, dirt road, really. I mean, really, kind of a remote type road. And she was found by hunters. And when they found her body, the autopsy, she was found under some leaves and branches. They saw her face sticking out. That was October 31st, Halloween. And when the autopsy was done, they found that it didn't look like she'd been sexually assaulted. There was no, that's one of the reasons right there I just remembered now. The fact that she didn't have any bruises on her wrist for being bound. I mean, how did you keep her for 3 days if she really was alive? So anyways, the autopsy believes that she was alive for 3 days based on certain things, but it appears that the clothing, her clothing was fine. That's not what I was going to say. The contents of her stomach were actually the food that she bought while waiting to ride the bus. And as someone pointed out in the chat, well, wouldn't that food have digested in those 3 days? So why are they saying that she was alive for 3 days? And that was a good point. She had cigarette burns on her abdomen and one of her wrists. And it appears that she was not sexually assaulted. All right. So that's sort of the quick rundown. I'm sure I missed a couple facts here and there, but hopefully not too many. All right, everybody. So that's it for the show tonight. And as I always say, all right, as I always say, be safe out there.
in a position to close it out tonight and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Morris taking on Embiid. Here's McConnell moving it. Covington had the board. McConnell gives it back to him. Covington for three. Ilyasova the offensive board. No! Another offensive board and a hammer down by Joel Embiid.
The Celtics need a timeout, I hope. Oh, here it's coming right now, yeah. Again, Philadelphia, Joel Embiid is giving a lot of yapping.
If it's your thing, there's been some extraordinary trash talk in this one. It's not for everybody, but Joel Embiid saying we're in your head. Marcus Morris saying 3-0, 3-0. That went on during the entire break.
Shot. Like, I felt like we didn't even play that good of a first.
Hazonia style.
Yikes.
Oh man, I think we need to go 3-1 at home. It's like, and like what happened to, instead of just trying to isolate.
Jason, but first, security camera capturing a suspected killer walking down the street, but it's what this same camera caught moments later that left police horrified.
And police say that man is in custody tonight.
Corner of Plymouth and Winthrop on Detroit's west. They captured the man dragging a woman's lifeless body.
And Devin, Kimberly, that video is just terrifying to watch. The callous disregard. That video is the man coming down these steps, dragging a woman's body. He then walks this way, dragging her body. We want to warn you, the video you're about to see is very difficult to watch. The video posted to Facebook is horrific, and we've blurred most of it. A man dragging the body of a partially clothed woman near a busy road in broad daylight.
And I'm scared. I don't like to come outside. That could have been me.
It was Elizabeth Strickland's first day working at the Royal Car Wash on Plymouth and Winthrop on the west side.
Paying no attention because I know he's kind of off until we seen a naked lady.
Strickland says she will never forget what she witnessed Monday afternoon.
I seen a guy that brought a body from out of nowhere and dropped her right there. Then he tried to run.
She says he took off down the alley toward a nearby gas station.
And I flagged the police down, the police got him. He tried to run, but I seen him drop a body right there yesterday. And I'm glad they got him because I pointed him out. I'm glad they got him.
The victim is a 58-year-old mother of two and may be home.
And it was sad.
Detroit police believe the man killed the woman before being recorded moving her body.
I feel bad, real bad. And I feel lost for the family.
And those are the cameras at this car wash that recorded this terrifying video. Witnesses say they just will never forget what they saw happening right here in broad daylight. Detroit police say a 43-year-old man is in custody.
Hello.
Gray?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Sarah. Sarah Beth, your live is still running.
Oh, is it really? Oh, I'm watching.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know how else to get a video.
You know, I always forget that button at the bottom. You know, I was wondering. Yeah, well, I'm just watching other stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I know, we can hear.
It's pretty freaky crap going on out there. Hey, everybody. Oh, and one last time. Well, thanks for letting me know. It would have ran all the way through the night. I appreciate it.
Right, no problem. I'm glad I had this number saved, so.
Yeah, well, I appreciate
All
it.
right.
All right.